Jeff, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, great. Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you see me is the question.
I can hear and see you.
Okay. I wasn't sure if the screen over here still says waiting, so I wasn't sure.
How are you doing tonight?
Do we know for sure that everyone is in here?
We are waiting on people to join. I do know people are joining because I got some emails about your grocery list. So I just be running a little late.
All right, no problem. I don't want to start too early. That's all. That way I don't have to backtrack.
Yeah. So how did you get connected with Christy?
I got connected with Chrissy through a mutual friend.
Nice.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago there was a contest through Favor magazine about best chef, and I was asking people to vote for me, and just through people, connecting asking other people to gather votes for me. That's how this all came about.
Nice.
Well, we're videotaping it, like I said earlier. So once we have it to complete it, we'll just put it on our YouTube channel, and we'll just we'll post it on Facebook as well. Oh, there's Zach.
But it's not on Zoom? It is on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're taping.
Steph, my husband and I actually had our engagement party at Uchi, and here in my kitchen.
How long? When was this?
Like almost 2 years ago, we have this very kind gift. Maybe your signature is in it.
No, I didn't start at Uchi until about a little over a year ago. I started December 2019.
Yeah, it may have been before then.
Yeah. But if you come back now, you will have a lot of my signature dishes on there. Or on the menu now. I currently have 3 different dishes on the menu right now.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucy, you emailed our registrants the link, I assume, right?
Mm-hmm. I know 2 of them said they couldn't come, and then Chrissy was ill.
Right.
So I figure we're gonna videotape it and put it on the YouTube regardless, so people will know it's on our thing, and people are aware of our chef and how to learn a nice meal.
Yeah.
We had 8 people signed up.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna message Zach.
Okay. So where are you from?
New York, born and raised.
You came down to this wonderful hot city?
Yeah, I moved down here in March of 2019, in March 2019, to help open up a restaurant in River Oaks district called Lock Bar.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was there for maybe seven months total, and then went on to work at Uchi, which is more in the line of the cuisine that I love to do. I've been doing Japanese food since 2011. So before I moved down here, I worked under Chef Morimoto for 8 years in New York.
That's pretty cool. Hey, Zach, how are you?
Hi, Lucy, I'm good.
Good.
Sheila, how are you?
Hey, Zach.
Hi, Sam. So you can't see me, Sam?
Well, we are blessed with a private class with Chef Jeff. So we had some last minute cancellations. Unfortunately, Christy's sick, but you and I are here. Lucy's gonna watch, and we're recording it so that we can add it to our YouTube channel later.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you, Chef, for your time. I'm excited.
Welcome.
I like the apron.
Thank you. It was a gift from my mother-in-law, so I figured I should wear it, give it some FaceTime.
Very appropriate.
Make sure I got all the seasonings out.
Oh, there's Ben too. Good.
Hey, Benjamin.
Hey, I joined through my own one. I presume you don't need me to join in through the HYLA thing to monitor things, do you?
No, sir. We're okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Chef, we want to be mindful of your time, so you go. Feel free to get started when you're ready.
All right. So the first thing that we're going to get started with today is we're going to get our rice and beans started, and then we'll move on to the chicken. So while we're preparing everything else, you can go ahead and whatever pan you like to fry in, whether it be a cast iron, deep fryer, let's get your oil up to about 325, 350. Let that start heating up while we start everything else. That way it'll be a fluid transition from dish to dish.
Wait a minute, Chef. How do you know that the oil is actually 350 if you don't have a thermometer?
If you don't have a thermometer, the best way to check, honestly, is just to, honestly, what I like to do is like, I'll hold my hand right above the oil. And then if I can't hold it there for more than about 5 seconds, I know it's ready.
Okay, but you have really hot tolerant hands. So couldn't you test with like water or flour?
Yeah, you can test with a little water, but I would just caution because don't use too much.
Yeah.
You don't want to.
Yeah. Water is actually the worst idea.
Yeah, that's probably the worst. What you could do, honestly, is probably take the smallest piece of chicken that you have, start to slowly dip it in. If it starts bubbling right away, you'll know it's ready. If it's like a slow simmer, I'll pull it out and then just wait a few more minutes until it's ready. All right, so I'm gonna start by turning our pan to like a medium to low heat on. I'm gonna have 2 different pots on medium or low heat. I'm gonna put a little bit of oil in each. Doesn't matter, this can be vegetable oil, canola oil, olive oil for this process. But for your chicken, you would want to use canola, vegetable, or even peanut oil if you're not allergic to it. You do not want to ever fry in olive oil because of the low smoking point. Olive oil is something using just for like a quick sauteing process. So what I'm gonna start.
Avocado oil is good too.
I've never fried with avocado oil, but the avocado oil you could use for the beans and for the rice.
Okay.
Because of the low smoke point.
How much rice are we making? Cup, 2 cups?
So we're gonna do 2 cups of rice.
Okay.
So the ratio from rice to water, we'll use 2 cups of rice to 4 cups of water.
Right.
For the rice, you're also going to use the 1 8-ounce can of tomato sauce, the 1 can of pigeon peas. I'll measure out the sofrito for you. All right, so we're going to get started by sauteing the sofrito first in a little bit of oil, and then after that, go right in with the beans.
What are we making?
All right, so the menu today is fried chicken, arroz con dulces, which is rice and pigeon peas. Habichuelas guisada, which is just stewed beans, which you could, like I said, you could use black beans, red beans, any kind of beans for this. Is just what your personal preference is. All of like the seasonings and flavor profile will be the same.
Okay.
All right, so right now, I'm gonna use 1/4 of a cup of the sofrito in each pot, in each pan. And we're gonna get that sauteing first. And then, so my back pot is gonna be for my rice, my front pot will be for my beans. You're just gonna start cooking down each for just a little bit. For the rice, I like to do my sofrito first, go in with my pigeon peas, then my olives, tomato sauce. We'll put the water in. The last item we'll put in will be the rice. So, like the pigeon peas, like sometimes you'll find they'll be green, brown. It doesn't matter which one you use. I usually just use whichever one I can find in the store currently. Some stores only carry one type, some carry both. This really just comes down to personal preference. So, and then in my front pot, I have the sofrito going. I'm gonna add in 1 can of my black beans right now. This is a 29-ounce can. So we're gonna put that in. So the beans, you want to drain both the beans and the pigeon peas. You want to drain the liquid that comes in the can prior to adding them. I don't like the flavor that those add to the dishes. So once the beans are in the pot, we're going to add 1/2 packet of goya Saute. Sorry, there's no Puerto Rican cooking without this.
Yeah.
Whether you buy it or make it yourself.
Papa, are you Puerto Rican?
All right, my mom's side of the family is Puerto Rican.
Okay.
All right, so a little of that. We'll go in with a half teaspoon of each garlic powder and onion powder into the beans.
Can you guys see the video okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I won't add any salt into the beans until after they cook down a little bit, just so that once all the flavors actually come together, I'll have a better idea of the flavor profile. And then to the beans, you would want to add about a cup of water and then just let them go to a slow simmer. Now, this is also the moment where you can take the 1 potato, cut it up into a small dice, and add it into the pot with the beans. The purpose of that is just as the beans are stewing, it just helps the starch in the potatoes, helps to thicken it up. That's also a personal preference and an optional step in making the beans. Honestly, I learned how to make these beans the best. Honestly, from a friend of mine who's also Puerto Rican. I will swear on anybody, he makes the best beans in the world.
He makes them from scratch?
Yeah.
Those are the best kind.
So to our back pot that has the sofrito and pigeon peas, I'm now going to add probably 3 ounces worth of Manzanilla olives.
Oh, that sounds good.
Olives are also optional. I know some people love them, some people hate them. I personally love them in my rice. So we're going to get that going. And then we're also going to add our 8-ounce can of tomato sauce.
Does that tomato sauce have salt or is it no salt?
This one is the low sodium. It doesn't matter which one you use. It's before we add in the rice, we're gonna taste the liquid anyway, so you would know if you want to add more salt or not add any.
Okay.
Also, I'm also adding another 1/2 pack of sazon into the rice.
Oh wow.
And same thing, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, garlic powder for the rice.
Hey, Chef.
That. Now you can add in the 4 cups of water to the your pan that we'll be making the rice in. And then you just want to bring that up to a slow boil. And then at that point, when it starts to boil, that's when we're going to add in our rice. Give it 1 quick stir, cover it, turn it down to a low simmer, and do not touch it. The more you touch and work the rice, it can become really gummy, really tacky, and your final product will be really mushy.
You're going to give that instruction again, right?
Yes.
That sounds like my mother. That's what my mother said about rice all the time.
Yeah, once you already have it in the water, you will give it a quick initial stir, but then after that, you don't want to touch it again unless you were making like a risotto where you want to keep it constantly moving, adding a little bit of liquid at a time because you want that creamy texture. But in this case, we do not.
I don't think I ever knew that about rice, but I've never stirred rice before.
So while these two things are slowly simmering and coming up to a boil, in a bowl, you would want to take about 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Go 1.5 tablespoons of the following: onion powder, garlic powder, pepper. I personally like to go about 2, almost 3 tablespoons of cayenne because I like my chicken a little bit spicy.
We did a modified version today.
But you can cut it down to 1 or 2, whatever, just depending on your spice level. About a tablespoon, also of black pepper. I do not add salt to this flour mixture because we already brined the chicken ahead of time. So the purpose of the brine is to allow flavor inside and out of the protein, but also it helps the protein maintain moisture. So that's why I say it was recommended to have the chicken brine in at least 4 hours ahead. If not, best case scenario is overnight, but as long as you get a maximum of 4 hours, you'll be fine. So once we have the chicken from the brine, you do not want to dry it or pat it dry. We want the skin to remain moist, so that way when we dredge it in the flour, it becomes caked on, because then that caked on will give you the crispness and the crust that you will want when you first bite into a fried chicken.
The best part of fried chicken, essentially.
Yes. I mean, you could do this. You could do the same thing with like skinless, boneless chicken also. The only difference I would do with that is I would go a 3-step buttermilk dredge, when you would go into flour, buttermilk, and then back into flour before you fry. But for this method with the skin on already, I prefer not to have to go through the 3-step phase of dredging. I find just the moisture from the brine with the flour gives you a good crust. So right now I have my 4 chicken thighs. I'm gonna go into the flour just skin side down first. And like in the end result, the herbs and the lemon that we put in the brine, you will taste that in the actual flesh of the chicken. So that is all, like, that's what I mean by flavor inside and out of the brine.
Steph, what about the timing for the brine? I know the instructions said 4 hours. Can it be longer? Is that a problem?
Yeah.
Is that
No, the longer the better. The 4 hours, I say, is just the minimum that you would need. But honestly, the longer the better. If you were doing like boneless, like a skinless boneless, I would say a little bit less would be okay, because it could become too salty. But with the bone in, it wouldn't be a problem.
Thank you.
So you want to, once you have it in the flour, you actually want to pack on the flour. You don't want anything loose. Want to make sure it's really caked on really nicely on all parts of the chicken. Leave nothing uncovered. So this is a messy process, but it's all worth it in the end. And when we fry, you want to fry skin side down first. You want to cook it for about, if we're shallow frying, it'll probably be about 8 minutes each side. If you're deep frying, it would probably be 12 to 14 total. And if you're not sure, and if you have a kitchen thermometer, you would test it in the thickest part of the chicken and close to the bone, and you're looking for an internal temperature of 165. Right, so I'm gonna go in now, skin side down.
That looks pretty.
Lucy, I recently got a meat thermometer and it's a total game changer for me, just FYI.
One thing you do not want to do is you don't want to overcrowd your pan, because then you'll cause the temperature in your oil to drop too low. So depending on the size of your pan, I would say whatever the maximum that you could fit in, go one less.
Hmm.
And that will give you your best result. And for this process, if you didn't want to have your hands dirty, by all means use gloves if you don't mind. Me personally, I have no problem. But in between each dredging, you know, because of salmonella, you would want to wash your hands before you touch anything else.
I have a meat thermometer.
So then, my liquid for the rice is almost boiling. What I'll do before it gets to a full boil, that's when, at this point, is when I will taste for the salt content and see if I need to adjust any seasoning, the flavoring, like whether they're being added in, for onion powder, garlic powder, even more sofrito or probably more olives. That's like now is the time to taste before it gets to that rolling boil and you burn your tongue.
Hmm.
Also, if it is a little too salty for you, you can also add some sugar to help cut that down. Me personally, I am going to add some salt to this. So I will probably just going to add also another half teaspoon. A lot of people are afraid to use salt, but like at the end of the day, salt is a flavor enhancer. So as long as you don't go too overboard, it is something that's very necessary in all cuisine.
Don't be scared.
And throughout while the beans are stewing, you want to give them an occasional stir just so they don't stick to the bottom of the pan. So, like traditionally, like beans, like I can eat these rice and beans every day with no problem. I mean, I probably wouldn't suggest it if you want a healthy lifestyle, but me, this is my comfort food that I grew up eating. So, like, this is a staple of what I'm cooking. If I'm not at the restaurant cooking, one of my days off, I'm probably eating either the rice or the beans in some way of fashion. Like even the rice and beans the next morning with a fried egg is a good breakfast for me.
What else do you put with the rice and beans, like as a protein?
So these rice and beans will go with anything as a protein, whether you want to do fish, beef, pork. So this beans and the rice traditionally and like a lot of it's very similar, like Cuban, Dominican, Puerto Rican food, like the cuisine is all similar. So like just maybe the sofritos may vary from country to country, but that's the basis, and the base of it is the same. And also, so like if you want to do like a stewed, a beef stew or stewed chicken, like a pollo guisado or carne guisado, that's what the rice and beans will also go well with.
What about that pork you made?
That's the pork shoulder, the roasted pork shoulder. That's pernil, which is like a 12-hour roasted pork shoulder that you would like. That's very big on like holidays and Caribbean cuisine. So like you would have your arroz con dulces, the pork shoulder. You'll probably have pasteles on the side, pastelillos, or like papayanas. Those are all things that we can do at a later date. If you guys are interested in learning.
I want that pork skin. You said that takes 12 hours?
Ideally, I cook it for 12 hours. That way, once it's done, you slide the center bone right out and you won't have to cut it.
Okay, but if you just want some crispy pork
skin, then you could maybe go to your butcher and ask them to just have that skin. And so basically that crispy pork skin, that same skin, is what they make chicharrones out of,
Right.
which is just a crispy skin. So
Pork
that's the
rinds.
same- yes, pork rinds.
Yummy.
It's so good.
Oh yeah, I love chicharrones.
So the water for the rice is about to come to a boil. So we're gonna measure out 2 cups of rice and get that into the pan. Don't worry, you're seeing real time, not through the magic of television like the bullshit shows we show you. Which, by the way, most chefs really don't like those cooking shows. That's a myth, so don't believe the hype. There's only very few shows that actually make sense to us. The rest of them are
Such as?
too dramatized and fake.
Such as?
Like the best chef shows, honestly, are Chef's Table. I would say Top Chef. Chop used to be good in the beginning, but I think it got too watered down. To me, even Iron Chef is kind of watered down now also. So I would say Chef's Table, which you can see find on Netflix, and Top Chef.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You know,
So you like the original Iron Chef, like the Japanese one?
Yes, those are actually the best ones to me. So speaking of the original Iron Chef, the Japanese one, I was talking earlier. I worked for Chef Morimoto in New York for 8 years.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
That was my first restaurant job.
So he's and Morimoto has how many which restaurants it is?
Ooh, he has several restaurants across the country. He has and outside of the country.
Uh-huh.
So currently he has one in New York, Philadelphia, Vegas, Napa, Mexico City. Yes, 2 in Florida, Seattle, Boston. All right, so I'm gonna give the rice a quick stir, and then we're gonna cover, turn it down to your lowest setting on your stove, and then just let it cook. It'll roughly take about 20-25 minutes. Well, you'll know it's done when all the water has evaporated. Your rice will become fluffy. You'll see the olives will have come to the top of the rice. All right, so we're gonna give the chicken a flip and cook it on the opposite side, on the left side, not the same side.
Sorry, about how much time until you flipped it?
I would give it about 8 minutes.
Okay.
And then you would want to flip it and then cook for another 8. And then at that moment, at that mark, it's like I said, if you have the meat thermometer, you can take it out, test it. Or you can just give a small, like on the flesh side, give it a small incision on the flesh side in the very thick, on the thickest part. And if you see the juices running clear, then you'll know it's done.
What pieces do you have there?
Right now, I'm cooking thighs and wings. I didn't go through the whole thing of breaking down the whole chicken, which we can learn in the future of butchering a whole chicken, which is a lot of people think is really intimidating. It's really easy once you know the joints.
Hmm.
So while the chicken is finishing up, we'll start getting our plantains ready for the mondoros, which is you want the right plantain for this. This at this point is at its most sweetest. If you have green ones, you would I would suggest we make tostones, which are the crispier, savorier option. Which you would, the process will be similar. You would, peel them, cut them to about inch thick pieces, pre-fry them, take them out, mash them, and then refry them. That's tostones. So like those go well with like if you want to make have it on the side with a soup or stew, or even just like instead of having potato chips as a snack, have tostones as a snack. Maybe make like a quick chimichurri and put dip them in. That works really well. So basically, you peel it the same way you would a banana. From here, I like to cut these on a bias. It doesn't have to be biased. So I would go about maybe 1/4 of an inch thick.
And wait, what are you gonna do with these?
We're gonna fry these after the chicken is done. So this will be the last process. This is
These are
just,
gonna be like little sliced.
so these will be just slices of plantain, or sweet plantain, which is called mandoros.
But when you say the bias, you mean like at an angle, right?
It's at an angle. It's just for look. It doesn't have to be. You can cut them into just regular medallions.
Chef, could you just hold it up a little because I can't see it with the camera angle.
Like so.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I got it.
Perfect. Did we mute the chef?
My fault.
That's all right. I thought I hit the button. Sorry.
All right, so I was just saying that we have the chicken frying. We have our rice is turned down to a low simmer right now. The beans are at a low simmer right now. We have the plantains prepped and ready to fry after the chicken comes out. Or you could wait. You could wait until the rice is just about done to fry your plantains. It doesn't matter. It's just all about timing. I'm gonna go ahead once the chicken comes out and just go ahead and fry them so you guys can see the end result. The beans, you'll know they're done when they just become. They're pretty much almost already tender. This is just the final process of the cooking. If you were doing from fresh, it would probably take you almost, I would say, 2.5 to 3 hours total if you were making them from fresh, from dry beans that you would have to soak overnight. So a quicker way if you don't have all day is to go with the canned option, which is nothing wrong. Most restaurants if you were to have Caribbean style beans in, they probably came out of the can because it's just more economical. Even though most restaurants will like to have you think that a lot of things are from scratch, not everything is. So at this point, I know the little wings I have are done because they're obviously small in size. I just added those in for my toasted wings because I like wings also. I feel just for like fried chicken though, the thighs are best because they don't dry out as much when you're deep frying them. As for the chicken breast, which I'm pretty sure you've gone to places that have fried chicken breast, and sometimes it can be hit or miss, where sometimes they can be juicy, sometimes they can be really dry. So that's why I know a lot of people, they prefer to have fried chicken thighs.
How do you prevent the chicken breast from being dry?
That's from being like from that. It just comes from overcooking. I think a lot of people tend to get scared, and they don't realize once those juices start running clear, that means the chicken is done. So they panic and they shoot for over. A lot of times, like I feel like a lot of people don't understand what a perfectly good chicken breast is, and they always tend to overcook it.
Do you want to use the meat thermometer for the chicken?
Oh yeah, I'll do it just as well.
Yeah.
So throughout the cooking process for the beans, like I said, you want to just give them the occasional stir. They're not like the rice. So the reason we're going to keep stirring them is you don't want them to stick to the bottom of your pan. Another option you could add into the beans, like right before they're done, and also the rice, is you can cut up fresh cilantro and add fresh cilantro as a garnish to either or.
What about green onions? Would that take away from like the Puerto Ricanness?
It wouldn't take away, but it's just not a traditional item.
What about the fried chicken that makes it like a Puerto Rican tradition?
Honestly, this is not a Puerto Rican tradition. This is just I believe I make some of the best fried chicken in Houston. So this is what and I don't know a person who really doesn't like fried chicken, so that's why I chose it as the item to show today.
Gotcha. Fried chicken is definitely scary.
It can be, but it's really simple when you think about it. You're really just frying a piece of meat. It's not a complicated process, really. I think people are more afraid of the oil itself than anything.
I have fried more pieces of catfish than I can count, but I have only fried chicken once, and it was terrifying.
So if you, like I said, if you can fry fish, you can fry chicken. It just takes a little bit longer. Fish are usually thinner, so it doesn't take nearly the amount of time.
Right.
But same process. The frying process will be the same. Veg process the same. Only thing is I wouldn't brine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't brine fish, but the frying process is exactly the same. You have the meat thermometer? I could show them.
Huh?
The meat thermometer?
Oh yeah. If you have your bread in front of you, it should be like on the side. So it's like on the right side. Can I try that little piece you took out? Just the wing. Thank you.
So at this point, I'm going to take out the chicken thighs and I'm going to tempt them.
You're gonna test the temperature?
Yeah, we're gonna test the very center of the chicken thigh. And like I said, we're looking for the internal temp of 165. If you're at like 163, 164, the meat is still hot, so there will be some carryover, which means the temperature will still rise.
That looks good.
But I can tell from right now that my juices are running clear, so I know it's done. I don't know. No, it's working. I just don't know if they can see it.
How did you what did you use to brine it again?
So the brine is water, salt, lemon, thyme, in the rosemary.
I can definitely taste the thyme in the rosemary.
That looks really good.
It's yeah. So like so you have a nice golden brown color, but
That's pretty color.
bottom,
So different from mine.
really crispy.
I'm ready to eat. I actually like kind of do eat all day and every.
So like once we finish cooking all the items, the way you would want to serve this, you have your piece of chicken on the plate, rice right next to it, beans scooped over the top, mandoros on the side. I would like if you want to have like slices of avocado with it, that's a great option to have with it. Version like for a veg, I would go with like a traditional like a chayote squash, just quick saute, salt, pepper, onions. Was really good with this. Like saute cabbage, really good. Honestly, you can't go wrong with any veg option you want to put on side, or even just a simple salad. This is more just comfort food than anything.
It's good.
What would happen if you turned up the heat on the grease?
Only thing that would happen if you turned up the heat on the grease, the outside, your skin would start to burn before your meat is cooked, and then also you run the risk of burning your oil and it'll overheat, and then that's when you'll start noticing you'll get a lot of the black specks on the items that you're cooking.
Gotcha. So what difference does having a cast iron make versus like frying a different type of pan?
So the cast iron is just so it retains heat better, so you can actually have your temperature, your heating element at a lower temperature. But I happen to go as you wouldn't have to have it up as high. The cast iron retains better heat.
Gotcha.
So while this last piece of chicken is finishing up, I'm gonna go ahead and fry my plantains. I'm just gonna put them in. They'll fry maybe 4 or 5 minutes. If the oil is shallower, you might have to flip them. If they're covered in oil, you won't have to flip them. So the key to this though is when if you were just to fry the plantains by themselves, is not to have the heat up too high because of the sugar content and the plantains themselves will tend to burn on you. And if you didn't, honestly, with the sweet plantains, if you didn't want to fry them, you could also oven roast them. It'll take a little bit longer, but they will come out just as tender, just as sweet.
That sounds delicious. When they come out of, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say you just cut them and then you fry them. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
You don't season
Really?
them.
I didn't know that.
You do not need to season them. They become perfect as is. The only ones I would season if we was gonna do the tostones as they come out, I would just hit those with a little bit of salt. But with the sweet ones, you don't need to season them at all. Once you fry them, the sugars and the plantains will caramelize themselves, and that will give you all the flavor that you need.
I tried that. Oh, that's cool.
Since my oil is not as, it's pretty shallow, so I'm gonna put the plantains to cook both sides. As far as the beans, once you taste them and they're tender, you can turn them off. You don't have to. It won't require any more time once they're tender. Like I said, it doesn't take long for the plantain to be done. I'm gonna pull them out and then I'm gonna show you what they look like. That's it. That's your end result.
Hmm.
And these come out really, really sweet. Like you honestly, sometimes I'll just fry them and eat them by themselves just as a snack. I know. The most difficult part about this is honestly waiting for everything to be done so you can actually eat. But you don't want to rush anything also. So you just gotta let it take its time. This is a little visual of the beans.
That's good.
I'm gonna cut open one of the pieces of chicken just so you can see the inside.
It smells really good in here.
So, as you can see, chicken is cooked all the way through, but it's not overcooked. It's not dry.
Right. That's good. Getting hungry.
Oh, can I have a plantain? Thank you. It has like a caramelized.
That's from the sugars, the natural sugars of the plantain itself. That's why I say you don't need to actually season it at all.
Because it was so ripe.
Yeah. That's the good thing about plantains. If you buy them green, they'll last at least a month or so, and they'll just continue to ripen.
Yeah.
So like if you don't see the green ones, you don't see the already ripe ones in the store, you can just buy them ahead of time and just let them ripen. Just leave them on the counter, they'll be fine.
But you have to like wait for like.
You don't have to wait, but it's worth it in the end. But like I said, you could also make them as tostones. Also, if you didn't want to wait for them to ripen. Also, if you want to make like mofongo, you would use the green ones to make mofongo.
Yeah.
Which is a mashed plantain dish, big in Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. It actually comes from Africa.
Somewhere off the West Coast.
It's actually an African dish, originally mofongo.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's why it's all over where the translated trade went. Except America.
So at this point, the beans are done, chicken's done, plantains are done. We're just waiting for the rice to finish. Which you, like I said, you don't want to rush it. You can't touch it. You don't want to stir it because you don't want to mess up the texture and make it mushy. So you just have to let the process play out.
Right.
But we're so hungry.
See, but that's why it's one of the things why you want to start in the beginning, so you kind of time everything out.
Yeah, timing is hard.
Yeah. Trust me, I know a lot of professional cooks that still living timing down, so I know it's definitely not easy.
That's like the hardest part about Top Chef. Do you know anyone who's been on Top Chef aside from Mori Mocha?
He's never been on Top Chef. He's only been on Iron Chef. As far as Top Chef, I know there was one person I used to work with that went on Top Chef. I forgot. I think he made it to the second round.
Mm.
But just the exposure itself is good though. Because honestly, like being a chef, one of the most gratifying things is actually seeing the guests enjoy your food. Honestly, to me.
That's how moms feel too.
That's how moms feel?
That's how moms feel too sometimes.
That was sweet, Lucy.
Are you gonna do this other wings?
If you really want to check the rice and must check it, I'm going to show you the quick and easiest way to check it without messing up the final product. as of right now, most of the liquid is done. So what I would just do is just skim back a little bit. You can see it, like it's almost there, but it's still a little bit wet. So at this point, you just want to just let it go. At this point, maybe it has maybe about 10 more minutes, but it's pretty much there. It's just waiting for that last little bit of liquid.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you put in there then?
So in here, it's very similar to the beans. It starts off with oil, sofrito. It's pigeon peas, olives, tomato sauce, the sazon, garlic powder, onion powder. I put a little bit of salt into this. Also, it's a 2-to-1 ratio of water to rice. So if you're gonna do 1 cup of rice, you're gonna use 2 cups of water. 2 cups of rice, 4 cups of water, so on and so forth. So it just has to be a 2-to-1 ratio.
Chef, I'm gonna have to log off, but thank you so much for your time
No problem.
showing us this amazing recipe. Lucy, will you be able to stay the last few minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Mm.
Like I said, so at this point, we're just waiting for the rice to finish cooking. Probably no more than at this point, no more than 8 minutes. Once that liquid has fully evaporated, the rice, you can then from there, you would want to take the rice, let it continue to sit for like another 10 minutes to finish the steaming process. Take the lid off, give it a quick fluff, and mix everything around so the olives are well distributed, and then everything will be ready to eat.
That looks great.
Chef, let me ask you something. What are your thoughts on this air fryer craze?
I use an air fryer, and if I'm gonna make fried chicken, I'm not gonna half-ass it and try to be healthy with it. I'm sorry. If you want to eat healthy, eat healthy. If you want to eat fried chicken, don't use it. For me personally.
No, I subscribe to that philosophy as well. I got it as a gift, and so it's like any frozen treat. That's good, occasional thing. But it's just funny because I like to use these things, but there's such a divisive mentality, like Instant Pot, air fryer, all these things.
It's just an adult easy bake oven.
Yes.
I use it to rewarm up
The things
that I have fried.
I'm very impressed with your fried chicken. You did it with such beauty.
So but my thing is like I said, this is not some things you want to eat every day, but like within moderation, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. So that's why the whole to me, fried chicken has been done this way forever. If it's not broken, don't fix it. That's my philosophy.
Well, it's interesting too because you feel like everywhere you see, like you said earlier, it's like egg wash, buttermilk, like heavy cream, dairy base. But just now, like I've fried chicken in the past to different results, but I love the way it looks just having the brine and the water as the dredging liquid essentially. It's
trust me. By doing it this way, you're really imparting so much more flavor than you realize.
The brine really makes a huge difference.
The brine makes all the difference. Like even I would say up until about maybe 8-9 years, 7-8 years ago, I always did the buttermilk process, and then it just happened to be a chef that I worked under showed me how to doing a brining method, and once I learned that, I'm like, all right, I just took it, just adapted it to how I wanted to do it, and it's a game changer for me.
Yeah.
Like
That's
this,
some
like
chicken for him to brine.
so like this same brine, like if you want, like you could use this same brine if you just have a big enough vessel. Like Thanksgiving, your turkey, use this same brine and then roast it. Trust me, it'll make a big difference. Or if you want to use this same brine, then since we're in Texas, smoke the turkey, same thing.
Yeah. Dang. Yeah, absolutely. The brine is just one of those things that's like, it's deceptively simple. It's just you got to think ahead. Like that's it. Just thinking
That's
ahead.
all it is. Yep. And you'll be surprised just how those simple, like 4 or 5 simple items makes a big difference. Because once you eat this chicken, like you'll taste that thyme, you'll taste that rosemary in the flesh in every bite. So like a lot of chicken, sometimes once you get past the skin, the flesh itself is kind of bland. With this case, the skin is tasteful, but then the flavor from the flesh of the chicken, because of the brine, is what's gonna blow you away. So at this point, our liquid is pretty much all evaporated. So I'm gonna turn the heat off, but I'm gonna leave the lid on for about another 10 minutes. And just to let it finish steaming.
I'll email you tomorrow for your recipe. And we'll post it tomorrow. I'll email you for your recipe because I don't have a copy of it. And we'll post it on the YouTube with that recipe.
No problem.
I'm gonna try this. This is great.
How much longer are those pieces in the? I think it's the.
Huh?
Everything's done.
Yeah, everything's done.
That looks wonderful.
That's what your rice.
Oh, pretty. Oh, that is beautiful.
Gorgeous.
I can smell it.
I want to try it. What are the special secrets to chef plating?
You just want to. It's just best presenting your final product. There's no real secret to it. It's just depending on what style you want to go. If you want to go refined, rustic, that's all.
What are the differences?
Just like if I say rustic, that's just like what I'm doing now. Like just more home style. Just it's nothing like intricate, nothing fancy. So like if I wanted to present this dish in a fancier way, I would probably have like a ring mold of the rice, put the chicken slanted up, have the beans presented in a different vessel. Probably put like microgreens on top, like micro cilantro.
What makes them micro?
It's just cut before. before it's fully grown. So, and that's your finished dish. So
Push
you
it
have-
back a little bit. Push it back a little bit. There you go. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh my God, that looks great. Awesome.
I'll put plate line.
So steamy. Give me a bite.
So I thank you guys for your time. Like in the future, like we can continue to have these classes. If you guys have any requests, if there's anything that you guys want to learn how to do, are really interested in, we can set that up and work that out. You know, when the best time frame for everyone is.
That sounds great. This was awesome. We've never done this before. This is great. Thank you so much.
And now, not only food, if you want to do desserts wise, we can do desserts because I honestly started in cooking doing pastry. So I am trained in pastry and savory.
Oh, that's cool. Well, we'll look into that. This one, we'll do another one soon.
Absolutely. Chef, you're an incredible teacher. I want to
Thank
share
you.
my plate with you.
Also, if you're in
Woo!
good Japanese food, come down to Uchi.
Zach, good job there. That looks good.
Well, Chef got a good teacher, man. Got a good teacher.
Yeah,
I
looks
would
good.
adore it. Why can't we see his?
I think they would have to join with the videos for us.
I have to watch on the video, but my wife's gonna love it. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm still working on my chicken in sequence because I only have so much room, but things look good so far.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Ben. Thank you to everybody.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. And thank you to your assistant. Appreciate it. Signing off now. Thank you.
My pleasure. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.